Hello, welcome to RNBA's official podcast where we talk about all things related to RNBA. Um, each episode will have a list of topics that we'll be talking about related to the league, and yeah, should be fun. I mean, this is kind of just a little bit of a test, but this is episode one, of course. So if you guys have any feedback, please leave that feedback for us to take a look at so we can maybe do things differently for the podcast, maybe even differently for the league, um, and maybe give us some more topics to talk about in the next few episodes. So let's just get into it. I don't want this to be too long of an episode. Um, but yeah. So clearly, as you guys can see on the bottom left of your screen, you can see the standings. And on the right side of the screen, for every episode, you'll be able to see the topics that we will be talking about. So you could technically skip through. You don't have to listen to the entire episode of the podcast. By the way, if you do enjoy the podcast, make sure to leave a like and maybe a comment and subscribe if you're not new. Subscribe if you are new. Subscribe if you're not new, because some of you guys are probably not new and haven't subscribed yet. Anyways, let's get into it. So the first topic is actually the standings, which is once again on your screen. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's talk about the outliers. Let's talk about what has happened in the first few weeks. So the biggest thing that I can look at right now is the 4-0 Cavs. The Cavs are 4-0. What does that mean for the league? And will they go undefeated this season? um, I I'm really hoping they don't. I'm really hoping they get sloppy. I'm really hoping a team figures out what they need to figure out later into the season and puts up a fight with them, because the Cavs are a really good team. They're really talented and all of that. But we don't want to make it just as simple as, yeah, the Cavs are the best team. Everyone's too scared to play against them. Everyone's like, yeah, why not just join them? Well, obviously, that can't happen because everyone has a maximum amount of people that can be on their team. But the Cavs are a scary team nonetheless. They're a 4-0 team. They are 100% at least going 9-1. Let's be honest. So they are a scary team, with O Chargers being the franchise owner and Works being the head coach. And let me give a little bit of credit to Mr. Works over here, because he's been one of the most active people in the league, and he's done his team right. Like, his team is there because he's been able to keep them on the right page, and you got to give props to that. So congratulations to the Cavs. You guys just had your hardest game last week, and you won it. You won it. You guys stayed firm, and you were able to beat the undefeated Warriors, who are now 3-1. 3-1. And now let's actually go into the three teams who are 3-1, which are the Bulls, Warriors, and Kings. So first of all, the Bulls are obviously in the same conference as the Cavs. Um, so the Bulls do have to probably go through the Cavs in order to even make the finals. So the Bulls need to take notes here, what they can and can't do going into games. If I were the Bulls, I would simply just watch how they play, take notes, because you will eventually play them, and it's not going to be pretty if you aren't prepared. But let's also talk about the Bulls real quick. A few of the people on the Bulls played in the original RNBA season, and they won the championship. They won the league. So I know they have what it takes. I also know that they have good chemistry from past experiences. They don't have the best chemistry right now. Keep that in mind, because they aren't playing a lot. They barely show up to games. There's a lot of things I have a lot of concerns that I have with the Bulls. Do they have enough gas in the tank to keep even going? Will they get sloppy? Will they? Because I don't think they are ever prepared for any singular game. They're not. They played what, 2 games this season? The other one was a forfeit win, the other one was a forfeit loss. I'm not trying to bash on the Bulls, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of concerns, and if they don't figure it out real soon, I think they could fall down to a fourth seed or a fifth seed in their conference. Let's talk about the Kings and the Warriors. The Kings are an interesting team now. Was originally owned by a different franchise owner. They're gone now. This is a new rebranded Kings. I want you guys to understand right now that the Kings in their first game with their old owner, they went 0-1. The Kings with their new franchise owner, Shark King, they have been 3-0. 3-0. Keep that in mind. They are a scary team, and I think they could seriously do some damage in the playoffs. They got, some, pretty known players on their team. And yeah, they're a really good team overall. But it comes to the simple fact, if do they also have enough chemistry? Like, they have the chemistry outside of the league, but do they play enough to practice enough to get better? I don't really know. Um, but I do think that they're gonna make some noise in the playoffs. Let's talk about the Warriors, who fell and lost their first game of the season just last week against the Cavs. The Warriors, I'm gonna be honest, they were my winner pick going into the season. I think they had a strong team, and I mean, I still think they do, but now it's getting a little bit worrisome. The Warriors, I don't know. Originally I had thought that expanding their roster, doing all this stuff, would be a good thing for them. But they did that last game, and you know what? I don't think they came prepared at all. They didn't have enough chemistry. Dude, they had some of the best players in the league. Better keep calm. Kenny, like, they had good players. They had a good roster to face the scary Goliaths in the Cavs, and they lost. So is the problem chemistry? What's the problem here? I mean, their original four outnets, Duel, Rev, and Fabio. Those four are a strong four. I think those four could be any team in the league. That's just me. They need to figure it out and figure it out quickly, or they will also fall in the standings. So we've kind of talked about the four best teams. We're gonna kind of skip ahead here because they're like the other six teams. They're gonna get their spotlight. I know they will. The Celtics have a good an important 2 games this week. Really important. The Wizards, a really big like this week. They have two of the hardest teams that they're going up against. So I'm a little bit worried about the Wizards. The Sixers, same. Um, and then we have a new look at the Lakers and Clippers, which we will be talking about after the fact. Spurs, a little bit worried about them. I'm going to be completely honest. They could fall down to that fifth seed and be out of the playoff picture. But let's move on, guys. Let's talk about the playoffs. The playoffs. Let me first just explain how the playoffs work, because one, it's not really explained well. I personally, as the owner of the league, have not explained it well. So let's talk about the playoffs. So first off, there's 5 weeks to play. We are in week 3, and after 10 games, the playoff picture will officially have started. So how that works is the top 4 seeds in each conference will be matched up with each other. So um so essentially it's like the regular NBA. Um, the Western Conference will play Western Conference players, or teams. The Eastern Conference teams will play Eastern Conference teams, and then the best team from each conference will meet in the finals. So let's look. Let's just say that this is the final standings, the final seeding for the playoffs, because seeding is also very important. Let's look at the Western Conference. The first seed and the fourth seed will match up in the first round, which is the Kings and the Spurs, while the second and third seed will match up together, which is the Warriors and the Lakers. On the Eastern Conference, the first seed and the fourth seed Cavaliers and Wizards will match up, and then the Bulls and the Celtics. So that's how the playoffs works. Essentially, though, um, so if you watch the actual NBA, it's a 7 game series, and here it's going to be a 3 game series. So like I'm talking about like they play their 4 games to 4 quarters ratio thingy whatever so for a regular season game. You'll play that that will count as 1 game, and you'll play on up to 3 different days. Obviously 2 days if it's a 2-0 win, but it'll be a 3-day series. Um, and then the winner will obviously advance. The finals, the 2 teams that are in the finals will not play a 3 game series, but the winners will play the finals will play will have a 5-day series. I hope that's kind of understanding. If I'm not making sense right now, please leave in the comments or let me know. Um, so yeah, let's move on from that. The playoffs are going to be an exciting time period, and I'm so excited to just get there. But let's move on real quick. Let's go ahead and talk about the Clippers and the Lakers. Um, we're talking about the Clippers and the Lakers real quick. For one reason, and that reason is just last week we talked about how they were 2 of the worst teams in the league, and they come from the same conference. 2 of the worst teams in the league. Understand that. The Lakers and the Clippers. If I was on the worst team in the league, I would feel so defeated. I would be so disrespected. It would suck. It would truly suck to be on the worst team in the league. However, the reason why I'm talking about these teams is I genuinely think that they can turn it around. I'm gonna say this right now. I think the Clippers can get that top 4 seed, and I think they could do some damage because with the recent firing of their original franchise owner and their new hired franchise owner in ABM Draco, I think he can get a team together and do some damage in the league. And that's the same with the Lakers. The Lakers signed 2 strong competitors, 2 of the best EU players in the game, in Alertifying and Devil. And I personally know that. So if those teams can get the right chemistry, they're going to do some damage in the league. And that means the Spurs need to step it up. And even honestly, the Warriors and Kings need to still be on their shit. They can't get comfortable. Because I swear, if I see the Clippers or the Lakers, if I see one of them in that number 1 seed, I'm going to freak out. But it's not going to be that surprising because I think they could get it done. So, point is, I think there's a lot of teams that can turn it around, and that starts with the Clippers and the Lakers. There's some teams that you need to watch out for that might fall down in rankings. And I'm just gonna say this: the teams I didn't talk about, the Spurs, the Sixers, the Celtics, even the Wizards. I think the Wizards have a great team, but they could fall down in the rankings. So, with the new additions to these teams, every team is always adding to their roster, always adding to their skill set. So you guys always need to be one step ahead of each other. Otherwise, people are gonna take off. And the last topic of the stream or the podcast, we're only at 15 minutes, which is pretty good timing. Maybe I'll post try to I'll definitely try to upload episodes once every like few days. But the last topic we've already kind of discussed already is the chemistry. We'll kind of talk about how we feel about each team's chemistry real quick. Um, but first we'll just explain how important chemistry is. And I mean, I hope you guys understand this, but if you put 4 of the best players on the same team with no chemistry, they're not going to win anything. I promise you that. But if you have 4 players that might be in the same voice call together while playing a game and have the same game plan and know what to do and when to do it, I think they would easily win. any single game that they play. And chemistry is so important because you need to know how your team is playing. You need not to get upset when your team makes a bad decision. It's so crucial because I seen teams giving up after one mistake. I seen teams giving up after someone they don't have good chemistry with does one dumb thing. It's not over until it's over, and this is a team game, not a solo game. So let's go ahead and talk about the chemistry. I'm not going to really explain or go into details for each team, but I'm going to give them a rating 1 out of 10 how good I think their chemistry is. And I want you guys to keep track of who's got the good chemistry and who's got the bad chemistry. Now, I could technically be wrong, but here is what I think about each team's chemistry. Starting off with the Cavaliers 1 out of 10, I'm going to give them a solid 8. They won games. That means they have some sort of chemistry. Bulls, I'm going to say a 7 out of 10, just below the Cavs. 7 out of 10. Celtics, I'm going to give them a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. Maybe a 5, but probably a 4 or a 5. Wizards, I'm going to give them about a 7. A 7 out of 10. Like, keep in mind, Bulls and Wizards have pretty much the same chemistry. Celtics do not. Sixers, I'm going to give them another 4 out of 10. Celtics and Sixers need to get their chemistry up. Otherwise, they will fall. Let's go to the Kings. Kings, I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10. They have okay chemistry, but they don't play a lot. So, yeah. Warriors, 9 out of 10. 100% the best chemistry. They have the best chemistry. 100%. If they run with that starting form, they have the best chemistry. 100%. Lakers, I'm going to give them a 5 out of 10. They're still trying to figure things out. We'll have to see how it goes with the Lakers. The Spurs, I'm trying to think maybe a 5 out of 10, maybe 5.5 at best. The Spurs need to figure some stuff out. And the Clippers, you can't really rate them too much because, one, there's not many people on the team yet. So I'm just going to say a solid 5. So keep in mind who's gotten the 5 out of 10s, who's gotten the 6 out of 10s, who's gotten the 7 and 8 out of 10s, but most importantly, who got that 9 out of 10. Remember that. Keep in mind because that's what I think. That's how I think the standings could be impacted. Chemistry is a big, important factor. All right. Looks like we finished everything that we needed to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and end off the podcast here. If you guys have any other topics you guys want to talk about or want me to talk about, then do so. Also, we will have guests on each episode. I just wanted to go ahead and be on this episode by myself for the first episode to get a good feel of things, to make sure you guys know what is to be said in these podcasts. So, yeah. That being said, we have a game tonight. This may or may not be uploaded before or after that game, and it's the Bulls and the Warriors. Both teams 3-1 in their respective conferences. One team's gonna fall short. One team's gonna get that 4-1 record. I'm not sure who's it's gonna be, but I will be streaming it live. So if this is not uploaded before that game, it'll already have happened. But yeah, I'm spewing words out right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and end off the podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.